In a country where history weighs heavily and conflict runs deep, three men made a choice that few would imagine. Timor David Aklin, Yaron Avraham, and Dor Shachar were Arab Muslims raised to hate, but they chose to walk a different path. Today, they are advocates for peace and defenders of Israel. This is their story, a journey from darkness to light, and a vision for a better future. Timor David Aklin grew up in Jaffa, a city filled with rich history, but also deep tension. He spent his childhood hearing that Jews were his enemies. Friends, neighbors, and even family members reinforced these beliefs, but a small, unexpected moment began to shift his worldview. Timur David said the following: "When I was a boy, they'd tell me that Jews wanted to take everything from us. They said Jews were dangerous, that they didn't belong here. But then I met Leah. She was the only Jew in our neighborhood, and people avoided her. One day I walked up to her, ready to cause trouble, but she did something I didn't expect. She handed me a chocolate bar." That small act of kindness planted a seed of doubt. Timur David returned to see Leah again and again. Each time she treated him with kindness and patience. "I began to question what I'd been told," Timur David said. "If she could be kind, maybe there was more to the story. But I still lived surrounded by anger and violence. I saw people I knew carrying weapons, fighting, and sometimes hurting each other. I didn't want that life." As Timur David grew older, his search for meaning took him on a spiritual journey. He explored different religions, but Judaism called to him. Judaism wasn't about fighting, it was about connecting to each other, to God, to something bigger. The prophets and the Bible became my role models. They struggled, they questioned, but they always came back to faith and purpose. That's what I wanted. Converting wasn't easy. People didn't understand why I wanted to join the Jewish faith. But Timur David found strength in the values he'd come to love. In Judaism, I found peace. I learned that life is precious, something to be cherished. That's why I share my story, because I want others to see that there's another way. Yaron Avraham's story is one of survival. Born in Lod, he was sent to Gaza as a child, placed in a school where he was taught to hate. His young years were filled with messages about martyrdom and violence. Yaron said the following: "They made us lie in open graves, told us that this was our destiny. I remember looking up at the night sky and thinking, is this really what my life is supposed to be? They showed us videos of bombings, said these were our heroes. Even as a child, I knew I didn't want that. I wanted to live." Yaron saw brutality up close. He was taught that life had little value unless it was given up for the cause. But he didn't stop asking questions. They'd beat anyone who asked questions. I saw a teacher beat a boy until he couldn't move, all because he asked why. I realized they didn't care about us people. I wanted more than this, so I escaped, hoping to find a different life. When Yaron returned to Israel, a Jewish family took him in, offering him kindness that made him question everything he'd been taught. Yaron said the following: "They treated me like I mattered. They didn't care where I came from. For the first time, I felt like my life had value. Later, when I joined the IDF, I saw my fellow soldiers show compassion even in the most challenging situations. That's when I knew I wanted to convert and become part of this people who value life." His time in the army reaffirmed his decision to embrace Judaism, a faith that taught him to cherish life and seek peace. "I found meaning, a purpose," Yaron said. "I knew I was home. I share my story because I believe others can choose life over death, just like I did." Dor Shachar, originally Ayman Abu Subo, was born in Khan Yunis, Gaza. His early years were marked by violence and fear. He was taught that Jews were monsters, and he saw the cruelty of these beliefs enforced in his own community. I grew up hearing that Jews were our enemies, that it was our duty to fight them. But when I was 6, I met an Israeli soldier who handed me a piece of candy. It was simple, but it made me wonder, is this really the monster I was told about? That moment left a lasting impact. Dor began to question the messages he'd been taught, and ultimately fled to Israel, where he found a new life with a Jewish family who welcomed him without hesitation. Dor said the following: "They didn't care where I'd come from, they just wanted to help. For the first time, I felt safe. I decided to convert because I'd finally found a faith that values peace, that celebrates life." Dor faced many challenges, from suspicion to legal hurdles, but he stayed true to his path. In Judaism, he found a faith that valued life, and he embraced it with all his heart. Dor said the following: "I was taught to hate, but I chose to love. I believe that by sharing my story, I can help others see that they can choose love too." Timor David, Yaron, and Dor each found a different path, but all of them discovered the same truth: peace is possible when we value life. They each left behind a life of hatred to embrace a faith that celebrates life. Timur David said the following: "It took me years to find my place, but now I know that we can build a world based on love, not hate." Yaron said the following: "We've all seen the other side. We know there's another way. We can choose life." Dor says, "I hope my story shows others that it's never too late. We can always choose peace." These stories remind us that peace isn't a distant dream, but a choice we make every day. In a world filled with division, are you willing to challenge the narratives you've been taught and seek the truth? If you found these stories inspiring, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others. On our channel, you'll find more of these videos. Together, we can spread messages of hope and peace. Thank you very much for watching.